Now, the new ABC One television series, The Slap, traces the repercussions of one single event upon a group of family and friends.
The 8-part series is based on Kris Mrksa's best-selling novel. I'm sure many of you have read it. The first episode airs tonight at 8:30 on ABC One. For more, actor Diana Glenn and one of the writers for the series, Kris Mrksa, joins us now. Good morning and congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First of all, before you were engaged in this project, had you read the book?
I hadn't actually read the book. I was asked to audition, and I had to speed through it and read selected chapters. So I'm embarrassed to admit. And then after I did the first audition, I read the whole book, and yeah, I couldn't put it down.
And Kris, as a writer, it must have been an impressive piece to know that you were going to engage with in this way.
Yeah, my wife used to work in publishing, so I'd been following the trajectory of this book, which was, steadily up and up and up.
Yes.
I mean, enormous hit. So yeah, I was excited about the prospect. When I got the call and was offered the gig of working on it, it's one that I think every writer in Australia probably wanted.
And Kris, when you read the book, did you instantly identify with certain characters, as so many readers have done?
Look, when I must admit, when I met with Tony Ayres and Helen Bowden, the producers, they asked me not which chapters would I like to write, but which characters did I identify with, which I thought was potentially a pretty incriminating sort of question to answer with The Slap. There's some... there are some flawed characters here. But yes, I did. Interestingly, I immediately related to Rosie, who's the mother of the child that gets slapped, because I have two small children myself, and, I know how easy it is to get judged as a parent. So I did relate to her very much.
Kris, staying with you for a moment, the task of reworking a book like that, which is written in 8 different voices in that sort of episodic manner, but knowing that you've got to bring it together as a piece for a really big ensemble, what was the particular challenge for you? Well,
look, one of those, you're right, typically series TV, you follow a protagonist or a group of characters across the episodes. Yeah. Here, the same characters remain over the whole series, but the focus changes.
The points of view shift.
Exactly so. And that is a real challenge. It's very unconventional. So retaining a sense of coherence and a sense of forward movement with all those stories was a big challenge for a writer. I've got to say, I think it's, like so many challenges, though, I think it actually made for when you find solutions, you have to be inventive, and I think it made for a better series, a more creative approach to writing series TV. The other big one for us was, though, getting inside the heads of the characters. Like with most novels, The Slap is quite internal. I think The Slap's actually probably more internal than most books. You're in the characters' heads. Yes. And getting that onto the screen is difficult because TV doesn't work that way. You can't see inside people's heads. You've got to find a way of putting that onto the screen, putting it into action. So,
yeah, and speaking of characters, Diana, you play Sandy, the wife of the slapper, for want of a better term.
That's right.
Harry, played by Alex Dimitriadis. Tell a bit about her and the relationship between her and Harry and how the slap has repercussions on them.
Well, Sandy, as you say, she's at the barbecue. They're all at the barbecue when it happens, and she sort of comes in when Harry does that. I think she's very aware of what Harry is capable of, and she's very much, I think, throughout the series, she's sort of in the background, but I think she's very much trying to make the peace between the parties, the slapped and the slapper. And I think the relationship. I mean, Harry is quite a dangerous character. I think Alex is brilliant as Harry in that he's incredibly charismatic, but he has this potential for violence. And I think she's more aware. I mean, if you know the book, you know that she knows more than anyone how capable he is of that. And so I think that, and that doesn't get revealed until towards the end of the series and towards the end of the book. But I think it's, her role is very much to be, she steps this line of family and friends, and she's, and trying to keep the peace, which often sort of doesn't work.
Now, before we go on, let's take a very quick look at one of the scenes of tonight's episode.
You're dead right. I do owe everything to Mum and Dad.
Here you go.
Their support over the years.
Don't pull those out of the garden.
And of course, Aisha, she's supported me. Wouldn't be here today.
Listen, you know what to do. Come here. Pull out of the garden.
Like Harry said, I'm a lucky guy.
A barbecue we have all been at in one way or another as the tension builds. Diana, talk to me about the process of shooting this. I mentioned before the large ensemble of terrific actors that are included. Was there a great deal of rehearsal done? Did you work this up? Because it had to seem terribly naturalistic, as we just saw in that scene then.
Yeah.
But at the same time, how much prep was there?
To be honest, there wasn't a huge amount of prep as an ensemble because everyone's commitments and everyone was all over the place. I think the scene that you just saw, the barbecue scene, which is obviously there in the first episode, that was probably where everyone came together for, we're all there. Jess Hobbs has done a brilliant job. We've got kids there, we've got family, we've got cricket bats, everything's going on, and it is working up to this climactic point. And I think I remember the slap, it's the slap, and so there was a certain level of anticipation, but that moment that we did that scene, I think just to hear it, because that a lot of the characters don't witness what happens, but suddenly everybody was, I think you couldn't sit on the fence at that moment. Everyone was engaged in this crucial moment, and I think that's where the cast sort of came together. And it was probably one of the only times we all got to see each other. So we were quite disconnected. I mean, everyone was sort of had their own story to tell, and you had your own characters that you worked with. But I think that bound us right from the beginning, I think.
And Kris, how close did you work with the author of the slap, Kris Mrksa? Obviously, he was involved, I read, in some of the sessions. Yeah,
Christos was, when I first arrived to begin on the adaptation, to begin talking about how we were going to tackle that, Christos was there. And I've got to admit, as you think the writer might be very defensive of his book, so I was a little intimidated, thinking he might be hostile to the process. In fact, it was the opposite. Christos was a great resource and enormously supportive. He's got a great brain for story and character, but quite apart from that, I think we felt emboldened by him being there because you could do things and look at him, and if he liked it, then you knew you were in the spirit of the book. We felt bold to go forward with it, and it was great from that point of view, having that sort of blessing in a sense.
He's described it as the greatest collaboration he's ever been engaged in, and as someone who's written on his own for a long time, that indicates something, of course. So we'll all look forward to seeing the fruits of your labour this evening on ABC One. Great to meet you both, Diana and Kris. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thanks. Good luck.
Thank you.